If I were moving to Southwest Washington in 2026, I'd be very intentional about it because not every suburb fits the same kind of lifestyle that you're looking for. You can find everything here, from peaceful wine country living to fast-growing new construction communities. But if you pick wrong, you could end up overpaying or missing the experience overall and the experience that you actually moved for. In this video, I'm going to be sharing where I'd personally live if I were moving to the Southwest Washington area today and why, the best suburbs for families, professionals, and retirees, and the hidden gems north and east of Southwest Washington and Vancouver that smart buyers are jumping on before prices climb again. I'm Hayden Humphrey, a local real estate advisor here in Southwest Washington. I've helped dozens of families relocate to Vancouver, Camas, and Ridgefield, and all around Southwest Washington, and I've seen exactly which suburbs deliver on lifestyle, schools, and long-term value, and which ones don't. First question, when you think about your ideal lifestyle in Southwest Washington, what kind of community comes to mind? So every single time that someone reaches out to me saying, hey, I'm interested in Southwest Washington, I ask them the following questions. All right, where do you work? What does your commute time look like? What kind of commute are you comfortable with? Are you okay driving 20 minutes? Are you okay driving 5 minutes? What would be ideal for you? Do you have family in the area? Do you have friends in the area? Everything that kind of consumes your decision on where you should live in Southwest Washington. Now, for me personally, we're a young family. We have a baby. Have a beautiful wife, Jessie, that you occasionally see in the videos. For us, North Clark County fits a lot better with our lifestyle. You know, I'm from Battleground. Jessie is from La Center. I grew up there. I still have family there. I have family and friends that are kind of scattered throughout North Clark County. And so for me, answering my own questions, right, North Clark County and somewhere like Ridgefield or maybe even Philida seems to fit the bill for us. But constantly I get calls going, hey, you know, I'm moving here from Seattle or California or, you know, somewhere out of state. I have family that live in Portland, but I don't want to live in Portland. You know, I saw right across the river is Camas, Washougal, Vancouver. That seems to be a better fit for me. And so when you're thinking about moving here, ask yourself those questions. You know, where am I working? Am I commuting? How far am I trying to drive? And then the little things like the little amenities, right? And we're always looking for properties that have strong resale demand, you know, areas that are going to provide a lot of that for us. So the question is like, what draws me to a place like Camas or Ridgefield? So I'm actually here in the Seven Wells neighborhood in Ridgefield right now. And for example, these homes back in 2017 through 2019 were in the 400s. And now today, what is that, 7 or 8 years later, they're selling for double, even more than that, you know, 800s to 900s in some different areas. So that right there kind of explains what I'm trying to say. And overall in Camas and Ridgefield, there's a lot of new homes that are getting built right now. And what I love about it is you can have that new home amenity and know that your equity is going to consistently grow over the years. But places like Ridgefield or Camas, the big thing that I notice why people are really interested are the schools and the overall cleanliness and the caring that is done with the town and the city. I feel like everything is planned out or seems to be planned out pretty darn well in both of those areas. And I noticed from like local events to like street sweeping, we just had a street sweeper here in this neighborhood. And when you between like Vancouver and those different areas, you definitely notice a difference. And that's why for us personally, Camas and Ridgefield are some of our favorite suburbs. So occasionally I get people that ask me like, what's the day-to-day life feel like living in Ridgefield, Camas, Southwest Washington in general? And it's a really hard question to answer because we're all different. You know, I'm a young guy. I like to work out. I like to hang out with my family. So for us, like a typical day-to-day, we wake up, maybe go grab some coffee somewhere, probably the Brewed Awakenings or Starbucks here in Ridgefield, and then probably taking our baby and our dog on a walk, maybe to the dog park. There's a couple cool trails around here. Like we like to go walk. It's past downtown Ridgefield. It's kind of the McCuddy's Marina area where we can walk along the water. It's kind of close to the wildlife refuge. And then maybe later on in the day, you know, maybe playing around a golf at Tri Mountain in Ridgefield or having a beer at Taps over in Ridgefield too. So let's talk about Camas real quick. Growing up, Camas used to be known for the town with the paper mill, and you would drive off of Highway 14 and it usually smelled kind of bad. That's what I remember about being a child driving past Camas. Didn't smell very good. But throughout the years, I remember going to, different athletic events, baseball and football games over in Camas, and you start looking around and go, oh, that's a new development. Oh, they just put a new grocery store here. Wow, this is pretty high end. And throughout the last 15 years, it's really boomed. We had Fisher's Investments come in and headquarter in Camas, and a few other pretty large, substantial businesses move into Camas and headquarter in Camas. And obviously with big businesses that are doing well, a lot of people are moving here, constant money coming in. And then overall, just the planning committee from the city perspective, and in Camas and in Ridgefield, they've done a phenomenal job. Now let's talk about Ridgefield real quick. I lived in Battleground growing up. Ridgefield was across the highway. And all I could think about with the Ridgefield as a kid was it's just a bunch of cornfields. There's the mascot for Ridgefield is the sputter, which is the potato, which kind of, resembles, what it was in Ridgefield before all this development. So that's what I remember personally. My wife used to live down in Metler Manor, kind of close to the water over there in Ridgefield. And I remember even the past 9 years that, we met, it's really developed. A lot of these farm agriculture fields are now houses. In fact, we are standing in Seven Wells, and I remember many times driving past this field before this development, and this was a farm. And over in Clover Hill is the same thing. We've seen a lot of stop signs or like dead end roads turn into roundabouts and connect with each other throughout the last couple of years. So one of the biggest perks of living in Ridgefield is the fact that you can buy a house new, but get those perks of the equity growth that you do like with the resale. And then obviously with Ridgefield comes the amazing schools and the overall reputation. And obviously there's a ton more coming. I think there's just a lot of hype right now of what's going to be here in 10 years. We got the Costco. We got the In-N-Out Burger. There's a whole new development. I feel like every single road we go down, they're building either a new industrial complex, commercial complex, or a new housing development. And with that being said, the master plan is really good. In fact, today we were driving past a new development in Ridgefield right off of Rural Road. And, we're driving through here every single week and we're watching this building come up. And my wife was really impressed with the overall aesthetic, so to say. This building that we passed had exposed beams and it just looked very clean and sleek and updated, right? It just looked new. And throughout Vancouver compared to here, you don't find a lot of those buildings where they're pouring a lot of money into little commercial hubs like we see here. And I think Camas is kind of the same thing. You do have the proximity factor with Camas. Although Ridgefield is pretty darn close to I-5, Camas is a little bit closer to Portland, to Highway 14, and then to 205. But with Camas, we have the same thing. We have a lot of new development, some high-end development, $1 million homes that are getting built. We have the amazing schools just like Ridgefield, and overall, just a lot of cool new things that are coming to the town. In fact, I actually had a client call me off of one of my videos, and we're currently searching for a house for them, but they ended up renting a house in Camas, and they have 2 kids that are going to an elementary school in Camas. I'm not going to say which one, but they called me the other day and they said, wow, we are really impressed. These people moved from Florida over here. Their kids started school about a month ago, and they made a point to say, we're really impressed with the academics in Camas. My son is super happy going to this school because they're teaching things that he is really excited about. So obviously there is a lot of hype with the Ridgefield suburb and the Camas suburb and different areas surrounding Southwest Washington. I think what some people might realize if they drive through here is realizing that Camas and Ridgefield is still a town. There's not hundred thousands of people here like you see in different areas of California and Oregon and different spots over there. So I think that's the biggest takeaway I get from people is they're like, well, this is a town, this isn't a big city, so to say, but finding your niche in that town is what's going to be most important. So if I were in my 20s or 30s, starting my career or working remotely, I'd be looking for areas that give me the balance. Where can I finish work, grab dinner on the water, and then maybe hit a hiking trail or paddleboard within minutes. And these are the suburbs that really capture that mix of lifestyle and I would say opportunity. So the downtown Vancouver waterfront district area, this is Vancouver's urban core. It's walkable, it's modern, and it's full of energy. You're gonna find a ton of really good restaurants here, gyms, local markets, and a lot of scenic Columbia River views all in one area. It's perfect for professionals who want Portland access without the Portland taxes. The new developments at the waterfront have become a major lifestyle hub with mixed-use spaces, events, and growing job opportunities. And then moving over to downtown Camas, a charming small town downtown feels like a movie set, lined with coffee shops, boutique stores, and locally owned restaurants. It's great for people who want a more community-driven lifestyle while still being close to the Columbia River Gorge and PDX, the Portland International Airport. The Camas schools and overall livability continue to make it one of the most desirable zip codes in Clark County and in Washington. And then Ridgefield, downtown or the Discovery Ridge area. Ridgefield blends new construction convenience with a small town feel. You'll find walkable pockets near Main Avenue, community events year-round, and quick access to outdoor recreation. Now, the Discovery Corridor has been Clark County's fastest-growing job and housing markets over the last few years. So younger professionals see strong long-term potential here. There's a lot of condos, townhomes, and luxury apartments near the waterfront, and prices typically start in the mid 400s, but can get expensive all the way up into the million mark. Now, with a lot of these areas, there's walkable downtowns with dining, breweries, and local events. And overall, there's very close proximity to Portland for work or for weekend trips. And being here in the Pacific Northwest, the PNW, there's access to hiking, biking, and river recreation within minutes. And overall, there's active, community-oriented environments with year-round events. Now, with these areas, what are some of the trade-offs and considerations that we typically see? I would say these lifestyle-driven areas come at a premium price compared to the more rural suburb areas. Some tend to find that homes and lots are smaller, especially in downtown and master plan sections. And let's be honest, commute times can slow down near I-5 and SR-14, especially during rush hour. And now, I've lived in California before. I was down in Santa Barbara and kind of near LA at some times. And I would say the traffic here is nothing like California's traffic that we see. But sometimes driving through Portland during rush hour, it can be slow, and commute times can increase by 30 minutes to an hour, depending on, car crashes, road construction, stuff like that. Another thing to consider too is the HOA or condo fees may apply in the newer developments that we see. And another takeaway is I would say the privacy factor is more limited in areas like Battleground or Brush Prairie compared to these other areas. Now, the pros. There is strong appreciation and rental demand in these areas, and there's easy access to jobs and outdoor amenities. And these areas, I would say, are great for networking and community involvement if that's what you're looking for. Now, here's a tip for you. If the lifestyle and convenience matter more to you than, let's say, yard size, these are the areas to beat. Camas and Ridgefield both offer a mix of new construction and walkable community living, perfect for anyone who wants the Washington lifestyle without giving up career flexibility or connectivity. Now, if I had kids or teenagers and was looking to raise a family here in Southwest Washington, I'd be prioritizing a few different things. Great schools, community feel, and easy access to parks, sports, and the day-to-day conveniences that we love. These are the suburbs that families consistently choose, and for good reason. Now, Camas is the gold standard for families in Clark County. It's known for its top-rated schools like Camas High School, Liberty Middle School, plus family-friendly neighborhoods with tree-lined streets and beautiful parks. Families love the walkability of downtown Camas, the trails around Lacamas Lake, and the short commute to major employers across the river in Portland, Oregon. And I want to say it's one of the most stable housing markets in the region with strong long-term appreciation and resale value. And then Ridgefield. Ridgefield is quickly becoming a top family destination because of its newer master plan communities, great schools, and small town warmth. I'm actually here in Ridgefield right now in the Seven Wells Estates neighborhood, and it's places like this, Seven Wells Estates, Kennedy Farm, that attract families looking for new homes, parks, and a sense of connection. Now, the Ridgefield School District consistently ranks among the top in the county, and new schools and sports facilities are being added as the city grows. It's the perfect balance of quiet, new, and connected, with easy access to I-5 and nearby job centers. And then Battleground. Battleground is a place that offers more space and affordability without sacrificing those amenities that we love. Now, in a place like Battleground, you're going to find newer subdivisions mixed with acreage properties, making it ideal for families who want room to spread out. Now, Battleground has its own vibrant community scene with local restaurants and weekend farmers markets. And schools like Battleground High School and Chief Umtuk Middle School are well regarded by parents. But I did go to Battleground High School, and I will say that the teacher to student ratio is not the best. Battleground is a great choice for families who want a slower pace with a strong value for their budget. So going through these again, Camas has established neighborhoods, modern craftsman homes, and higher-end newer builds ranging from mid-700s to well over $1 million. And in Ridgefield, there's new construction family homes starting in the 600s, often with community parks, trails, and playgrounds. And in Battleground, compared to the other two, a little bit cheaper. There's a mix of newer subdivisions and semi-rural acreage homes and solid options starting in the mid-500s and upward. Now, top-rated school districts like Camas come with higher housing costs and competitive markets. And in Ridgefield, rapid growth means more construction and developing infrastructure. And Battleground offers more land, but commuting to Portland or central Vancouver can definitely take longer. And overall, the inventory does move fast, and families often need to act quickly when the right home hits the market and goes for sale. Now, the pros: there's strong resale value and stable demand from relocating families. It's safe, it's community-oriented neighborhoods with great schools, and there's plenty of family recreation and lifestyle amenities for the family. Now, if your goal is to raise kids in a safe, active, and opportunity-rich environment with access to good schools and outdoor space, it's really hard to go wrong with Camas or Ridgefield. Now, if you value more space at a slower pace, Battleground offers unbeatable value while still keeping you close to everything families need. Now, if I were entering retirement or just wanted a slower pace of life, I look for areas that offer peace, access to nature, good healthcare, and a strong sense of community. Now, the Vancouver suburbs have some incredible options that deliver all of that without giving up convenience or connection. Some of my top neighborhood picks for someone in this scenario is Camas, like Lacamas Shores, Prune Hill, or downtown Camas. And in Ridgefield, like the Seven Mills Estates community, which I'm in right now, Clover Hill, just right down the road, and the 55 up communities closer in Salmon Creek that are closer to the hospitals, and Battleground, close to the Cedars Golf Course area and the rural outskirts of Battleground. So the big question is why these areas work for people retiring. Camas blends small town charm with scenic beauty and proximity to a lot of healthcare options. Neighborhoods like Lacamas Shores and Prune Hill offer lake views, walking trails, and quiet streets, perfect for someone who's retired, who values tranquility and low maintenance. And then the downtown Camas area provides walkable access to shops, dining, and community events, all within 20 to 25 minutes of major hospitals in Vancouver and Portland. And this area is also ideal for retirees who want to stay active while keeping a refined, connective lifestyle. Now, Ridgefield has quietly become one of Clark County's best-kept secrets for downsizers and active retirees. You'll find newer single-story homes, golf-friendly communities, and easy access to outdoor recreation, including the Ridgefield National Wildlife Refuge. It's peaceful, but also still close to I-5 for quick trips to Portland or Vancouver. Plus, Ridgefield's newer neighborhoods make it easy to find modern layouts that minimize upkeep while maximizing comfort. And then Battleground. Battleground is perfect for retirees who want space, value, and quiet. You'll find everything from modern ranch-style homes to larger properties near Cedars Golf Course or rural acres properties with privacy and greenery. And the local amenities are convenient, with medical centers, restaurants, and shopping right in town, while still keeping that relaxed small town atmosphere that we're all looking for. It's a great fit for retirees who prefer simplicity, space, and affordability. Now let's talk about the housing options in each of these areas. In Camas, there's higher end single level homes, luxury condos, and low maintenance neighborhoods, roughly $700,000 to $1.2 plus. In Ridgefield, there's newer 55 and up communities and modern ranch style homes in the $500 to $700K range. In Battleground, there's larger lots, single-story homes, and semi-rural settings starting in the high 400s. Overall, there's peaceful neighborhoods with access to lakes, golf courses, and trails, low-maintenance homes for ideal lock-and-leave type of living, and excellent healthcare within 20 to 30 minutes between each of these areas. And also in these areas, I'd say there's a strong sense of community and safety, and there's year-round events, wineries, and outdoor recreational options. Now, I will say Camas and Ridgefield can be more expensive than other Clark County suburbs. We already know that. And Ridgefield's rapid development means some areas are still under construction, so you're going to occasionally get the road noise, the construction noise, all sorts of that. And over in Battleground, the rural options may require more driving for shopping, appointments, or just the day-to-day lifestyle activities. And overall inventory for single-level homes is limited and typically sell a lot faster than multi-level homes. But the pros, there are lower crime rates and peaceful communities in these areas, and great healthcare access and strong local amenities. And honestly, there's excellent resale potential for well-located, low-maintenance type of homes. Now, if retirement to you means fresh air, community connection, and a home that's easy to care for, Ridgefield and Camas deliver that balance beautifully. And if you want more land, privacy, and what people say better bang for your buck, Battleground offers one of the best retiree-friendly lifestyles in all of Southwest Washington. Even after spending years helping families relocate here, there are still a few suburbs that catch my attention. Areas that aren't quite as well known as Camas or Ridgefield, but have the right mix of growth, space, and long-term upside. These are the ones that I'd personally watch closely heading into 2026. And the neighborhoods and areas I'm referring to are Brush Prairie, Le Center, and East Ridgefield Discovery Corridor. All right, Brush Prairie. This area has quietly become one of Clark County's most appealing semi-rural pockets, and buyers love it for larger lots, peaceful roads, and the balance between city access and countryside living. Brush Prairie offers strong resale per square foot compared to Ridgefield or Camas, and you're still just 20 to 25 minutes from downtown Vancouver. It's ideal for buyers who want more private country feel without more living too far out. Now, the center is small but growing fast, especially as Ridgefield pushes north. The city has an infrastructure, parks, and small business growth, and new housing developments are starting to fill in around downtown. You'll find excellent home value and quick access to I-5, making it a smart long-term investment area. And many people moving here are looking for that next type of Ridgefield feel with more space, newer homes, and community growth that's just getting started. And then the East Ridgefield Discovery Corridor. This little stretch north of Vancouver is where you're going to see some of the biggest future changes. The Discovery Corridor is a key regional growth zone with new commercial projects, schools, and infrastructure being added every single year. And as employment and amenities expand, this corridor will likely become one of the most in-demand areas in Clark County, especially for buyers priced out of Central Camas or Ridgefield. And it's one of those rare places where you can still buy early and benefit from the next wave of development. In these areas, you're going to find larger properties and quieter streets with easy access to I-5. You're also going to find rapidly improving infrastructure and school systems, and overall more flexibility in home styles from new construction to custom acreage type of homes. And also in these areas, I'd say there's lower competition coming from a real estate agent's perspective than Camas or Ridgefield, with strong future appreciation potential. Now, the trade-offs and considerations with these areas, there are fewer amenities and shops today, although that's changing quickly. Some of these areas, there are longer commutes for those working in Portland or Central Vancouver compared to a place like Camas or Ridgefield. And let's be honest, some of these areas are still semi-rural, which can mean more maintenance or septic systems and just properties that are going to require more effort. Now, the pros, there is strong appreciation potential as nearby suburbs fill out. There's larger lots and privacy compared to urban neighborhoods. And I would say it's ideal for long-term buyers or early type of investors. So here's a tip for you. If you're thinking ahead of what's next for Vancouver or Southwest Washington in general, these are the suburbs to watch. Now, they're not the most talked about today, but they offer the kind of growth, space, and quality of life that could make them the next big story in Southwest Washington. Now, choosing the wrong suburb around Southwest Washington can completely change your experience here. You could end up with a larger commute than expected, a school district that just doesn't quite fit your family, or a neighborhood that doesn't hold its long-term value. And that's why getting clear on what you really want, lifestyle, budget, and community before you buy is so important. Now, if you're thinking about making a move here to Southwest Washington and want help figuring out which area truly fits your goals, reach out to me directly. I've helped families, professionals, and retirees find their place here, and I'm happy to walk you through the differences between Camas, Ridgefield, Battleground, Brush Prairie, and Le Center, and all the other hidden gems nearby in the area. And if you made it through this whole video, you can go ahead and grab my Southwest Washington relocation guide using the link in the description. We've worked really hard on this thing, and a lot of the people I've sent it out to find a lot of value in it. Or feel free to schedule a quick call with me so we can start planning your move together. Thanks for watching.